All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. I want you to think about this for a second, because our daily choices literally design our future. Every single day, we're bombarded with decisions. Which project should you tackle first? How do you handle that tricky email from a coworker? What skills are actually worth your time to learn? The problem is, a lot of us make these choices completely reactively. We just run on pressure, emotion, or pure habit. But as this idea perfectly captures, the quality of your life ultimately comes down to the quality of your thinking.
Welcome to the Explainer. We're going to dig into exactly why strategic thinking builds success. And look, I know strategic thinking can sound like just another corporate buzzword, but I promise you, it's absolutely the ultimate life skill. We're going to see why shifting your mindset from just reacting to things to actually being strategic is hands down the best way to turn your good intentions into undeniable real-world results. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll hit number 1, the busy versus effective trap. Number 2, defining true strategic thinking. 3, the strategic advantage. 4, frameworks for strategic success. And finally, number 5, your daily strategic practice.
Starting off with section 1, the busy versus effective trap, and how we can escape the cycle of reaction.
Man, this is just universally relatable, isn't it? When we don't think strategically, we fall right into the busy trap. We totally exhaust ourselves putting out fires, and we start confusing blind urgency with actual importance. You know the feeling. You end up working harder, but definitely not smarter. You try to chase down every single opportunity that pops up, and you find yourself just putting band-aids on symptoms instead of curing the root cause. The end result? You're reacting to today's problems while accidentally creating tomorrow's. You're super busy? Sure, but you are not effective.
Moving right along to section 2, defining true strategic thinking, because it is way more than just a plan.
So what are we actually talking about here? The crucial point is that strategic thinking is the bridge between exactly where you are right now and where you actually want to end up. It fundamentally flips a simple, what should I do, into a much deeper, why should I do it? It's all about stepping back. It's the discipline of asking what outcome you really want, what info you're missing, and honestly, what you should deliberately not do. You're bringing purpose, perspective, and priorities together before you ever make a move.
Now, it is so incredibly easy to trip up on this distinction. Strategic thinking and strategic planning are cousins, but they're very different animals. Before you map out your timeline, your resources, or your daily actions, which by the way is the planning phase, you first have to do the deep strategic thinking to figure out what you're pursuing and why. Are you actually leveraging your strengths? Where is things heading in the long run? Basically, you have to make absolutely sure you're climbing the right wall before you build a highly efficient ladder to climb it.
All right, section 3, the strategic advantage and how it literally changes your outcomes.
When you compare these two, the contrast is absolutely wild. A strategic thinker fundamentally changes the baseline question of their day from how can I do more to what actually deserves my attention. While a reactive thinker just plays whack-a-mole with whatever lands in their inbox, working harder and harder, the strategic thinker is anticipating things. They work on what actually matters. They connect today's actions with tomorrow's goals. This, right here, is exactly why strategic thinking builds undeniable success. You stop measuring just how much you did, and you start measuring the actual impact of what you did.
Let's get into section 4, frameworks for strategic success. We'll look at a few mental models for absolute clarity.
Okay, before you brainstorm a single solution or overanalyze the situation, a true strategic thinker always hits pause to ask this one fundamental question. You've got to define your destination. Because without crystal clarity on where you are trying to go, even the most brilliant, hard-working effort can still produce the completely wrong result.
This 360-degree model is a game changer. It makes sure you're looking at things from multiple angles before you lock in a choice. You start with that purpose we just mentioned. Then you face reality, looking at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats without lying to yourself. You scan your environment for changes, because a trick that worked yesterday might totally fail tomorrow. You set your priorities using the 80-20 rule to focus on the heavy hitters. And finally, you generate options. Strategic thinkers never just fall in love with their first idea. They create choices before choosing.
Let's see how this builds when we introduce consequences. Actually, scratch that. It's more about avoiding tomorrow's problems by using what's called second-order thinking. You basically just ask, and then what, repeatedly. Take a look at this scenario. A manager decides to cut employee training. The first-order result looks awesome. Costs go down today. But ask, and then what? Well, employee capability declines. And then what? Quality, productivity, and innovation take a hit. Suddenly, a cheap quick fix today has totally wrecked your competitive advantage for tomorrow.
Now, what if things are moving incredibly fast? I find this one fascinating. For rapid changes, we use the OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, and act. If your project suddenly hits a massive roadblock, you observe the issue, orient yourself to find out why it's happening, decide on a pivot, and act on it. And then you loop right back around. The key takeaway here is that strategic thinking isn't about making one perfect, set-in-stone decision. It's a continuous, high-speed learning cycle.
The best part about all this, you absolutely do not need an MBA or dozens of complex academic models to do it. You just need a situational toolkit. Trying to understand a stubborn problem? Ask the 5 whys. Need to figure out what to tackle first? Use the 80-20 rule. Because at the end of the day, the framework itself isn't the strategy. The absolute quality of your questions is the strategy.
Bringing us to our final section, Section 5, your daily strategic practice, and how to make this a concrete habit. Strategic thinking is a totally trainable skill. By actively practicing these 7 habits, you stop just hoarding information and start turning your daily experiences into actual strategic wisdom. Take a look at number 3, separating facts from assumptions. Just writing down what is a hard fact versus what is just a guess will dramatically improve your decisions. And number 7, reviewing those decisions. Every big choice is a chance to ask, okay, what did I miss and what am I going to do differently next time? You don't need some massive multi-day corporate retreat to pull this off. You can build this muscle in literally 15 minutes a day. Take 5 minutes in the morning to pinpoint your biggest outcome for the day. Take a quick 5 minutes during the chaos of your afternoon to just pause and question your assumptions before you react. And then take 5 minutes at night to review what worked and what flopped. This tiny daily investment shifts you completely from being on autopilot to acting with real purpose. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to remember that your life, your career, your relationships, they are all essentially a strategy. They are a series of compounding choices. A strategic thinker isn't trying to have a crystal ball to predict the future. They are simply preparing themselves to respond intelligently to whatever future shows up. They know for a fact that adaptability beats rigidity, and that playing the long game beats a short-term impulse every single time. So I'll leave you with what is probably the most powerful question a strategic thinker can ever ask themselves. If I continue thinking and behaving exactly as I am today, where is that going to take me tomorrow? Because once you clearly answer that, and you honestly look at your current trajectory, you finally have the power to change your direction. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Now go make some great decisions.